A warm welcome to Anuradha Vedic Astrology. Today we are going to talk about Mars in the third house. But before that, a big thanks to all of you for liking, sharing, and subscribing to our YouTube and Spotify channels and writing in your comments and suggestions there. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do. And do remember to press the bell icon so that you can get the updates ASAP. Mars in the third house. Generally, when we see Mars in the third house, the first thought that strikes us is Karako Bhavnashaya. That is, the Karaka sitting in its own bhav will create problems for that bhav in that respect. So, you are also correct in that respect because all the classical texts are, at least on this point, everybody is very clear and has a same reaction or a same conclusion that if there is Mars in the third house, then the native is courageous, it's unconquerable, bereft of go-bonds. Again, when we look into Faldipika, that was Saravali. When we look into Faldipika, is the same thing. The person does not get happiness from younger brothers. Garg, Brihad Samhita, all of them have the same point to say. So Garg Rishi also has something to say about ladies. We'll look into it later. But all of them also have to say a very strong point that people who have Mars in the third house are courageous. They're very successful people in life. Obviously, we have to see Deshkal path. They move with an intent of never being conquered by anybody. So this makes them setting their goals and getting whatever goals that they have in mind, going for their goals without any fear. They do not hold anything back and they are very straightforward. It is said that if there is Mars sitting in the third house, such a person is also very wise. Yes, the person is also sensuous and the person would know how to conquer enemies also. It is said that these people also know how to make riches in their lives. But it is also said that they may have problems, they may have issues with brothers or younger siblings. Garg Rishi also goes on to say that the person he has an explanation that this Mars sitting in the third house does have an effect on progeny. And this could also be because of Bhavad Bhavam effect, because the fifth house is also the third to the third. When we talk about the ladies, but before that, let me talk to you about Karako Bhavnashaya. G.S. Sharma ji, who has translated BPHS into English, is very clear on the point of Karako Bhavnashaya. He says it only happens, and it happens in a great propensity when this Mars is sitting in either Aries or in Scorpio in the third house. That is, it's sitting in its own house. And because then it becomes the third lord, the Karaka and the house. If there is a malefic influence on the Aries or in Scorpio, in that case, this entire house is shaken to the core with its Karakas. So that is the reason why we do not always say Karako Bhavnashaya whenever we see a Mars in the third house or Jupiter in the second or Jupiter in the fifth, so on, so forth. But then I will always leave it on to your explanations and your experiences. Now, how does this Mars influence differ? Mars is courageous, but in which way will it show its courage? That will differ from sign to sign and even from nakshatra to nakshatra. But here, I will take up just the sign bit of it. Say Mars is in Aries in the third house. Then in that case, obviously, a person will be very daring, will be very courageous, will have a forward thinking, and will be a dynamic leader. If it's in the third house in the sign of Taurus, then you would be a financial leader, having a good knowledge of the finance, because we need to put in the Taurus sign also. you would be able to talk well and talk with a lot of knowledge if this very Mars is sitting in the third house of Gemini. And you will be a good lawyer. You would be a good agent, and you would be a person who can debate well with anybody on any level. In fact, you won't have any problem sitting on any scale and talking to others. If this is a third house, and that being Cancer, and though the Mars here is debilitated, you may have a soft voice, but you will be fixed in your convictions and you will be very dedicated to your goal. Again, riches are never a problem when Mars in the third house is present for a Taurus Lagna person. When we see Mars in the third house for a Gemini Lagna person, the sign being Leo, then we can very well tell that this Mars for the person is definitely going to create a lot of know-how. The person is flamboyant. The person knows how to interact and do PR for high-profile people, and as such will have very lofty goals, which the person will make sure are achievable by him or by her. And when we are talking about a Cancer Lagna, here Mars comes and sits right there in the sign of Virgo. The person is a very good lawyer, has a great power of discrimination, and if it's afflicted, then the person also has a crooked mind. On the other hand, if it is with a benefic, it is aspected by benefics, then the person knows the value of service and is a true serviceman to the core. When we talk about the same Mars in the third house in Libra, now the Lagna is Leo. I'm not afraid of anybody. That is what this Mars says. And this Mars, but being polite, but being strong, will be able to convey its thoughts unapologetically across the bench and will have very strong goals also. So let's talk about the Virgo Lagna. And now Mars is in the third house of Scorpio, its own sign. We have talked about Karako Bhagnashaya. But in addition, this Mars also makes a person a very strong person. The fiber, the core is very strong. And there's not much which can shake you. However, when there are malefic transits, you need to be very aware, because then you can have sudden problems in life. When we talk about the Lagna of Libra, and we see that Mars is posited in the sign of Sagittarius. Such people are very fond of travel. Such people like to see the world and they like to experience new things in life. That is their way of learning. And thus, these people will speak from their experience. Thereby, they will make authentic lawyers per se. These people will also not have any problem with riches, and they will be acting as guides, as counsels for number of people. When we talk about the Scorpio Lagna, and Mars is sitting in the sign of Capricorn, if you want to go to a financial analyst and if you want to see how they work very strongly with a lot of conviction, this is the person you go to, because they have the ability to adapt with changing times, and they are strong with whatever they do. They're very hardworking and very goal-oriented people. They work quietly, but they make a forceful impact. As we talk about Mars in the third house for a Sagittarius Lagna, these people will have the ability to think. They have very scientific minds. And as we say that the third house is also about being wise, they are also very creative. So the scientific mind and the ability to put in your energy in the scientific mind is also seen. Capricorn Lagna, Pisces Mars. Yes, so this Mars is the global warrior, and this Mars is the one that will work for others. This Mars, it has the ability to protect everyone around them and still be victorious. Nobody, nothing can harm them. They're calm, they're quiet, they're humble, but one cannot take them for a ride. Now, we will also move on to what Bhrigu Rishi Garg Rishi says that even in the Jataka of a lady, if she has got Mars in the third house, then she is very strong. She knows how to get her results. She doesn't get sick easily. She is always a result oriented and a focused person. She's loved by her relatives. She's loved by one and all. And in this respect, we need to check out first India's first female judge, her chart. We'll come back to the chart of C.V. Raman again, but Leela said she has her Mars in the third house. It's a debilitated Mars. Made her work with people with a hand of steel in a kid's glove. She was very perfect in whatever she wanted, and yet she was always polite and dedicated. She was loved by all, and she knew what she wanted, and she achieved it. In fact, if you listen to her speeches, you will see how motivating that she is. Now, when we talk about C.V. Raman, the Nobel Prize winner, we know that he again having his Mars in the third house, and that too in the sign of Sagittarius, loving to travel, learning from his experiences, and also getting the Nobel Prize because of his experience about his research. Again, this is with the 10th Lord, so it's again a Yogkarak that we find here. 7th and 10th Lord together, giving you a very strong ability to work hard in the third house and get name and fame. If we look into the nakshatras, we'll be able to do better and pinpoint things. We see that Mars for him is in the nakshatra of Purva Bhadra, which is Purva Shada, which is aggressive, at the same time very nurturing, and at the same time it being also the nakshatra of Saraswati. It's free flowing as well as giving one a lot of vidya or a lot of knowledge. Do write into us. Do let us know how you found that video. And do write in as to which other planet and which other house that you want to know about. Till we meet with you again, stay safe. Please hit the bell icon for fresh updates. Don't forget to like, share, and comment on the videos, and please subscribe to our channel.